The Polaroid camera, once abundant, now highly endangered. But some still remain. Here in a studio in downtown Manhattan resides one of the rarest Polaroids of all, the blue whale of Polaroids, the largest living Polaroid camera in the world.
It could range about 6 feet high to extend about 5 feet out. It weighs 235 pounds. It's an absurd object.
That's John Reuter, the camera's caretaker for the last 30 years.
I'm the director of 20 by 24 Studio here in New York City, the home of the 20 by 24 camera. That is the Polaroid camera that takes ultra-large instant portraits. The reason it's called 20 by 24 is the photo itself is 20 by 24 inches.
That's the photo. And how did this camera develop?
Polaroid, especially in the 60s and 70s when it was at its largest and most powerful, was maybe the most interesting tech company in the world.
That's Polaroid scholar
Christopher Bonanos. I'm the author of Instant, the Story of Polaroid, and its founder, a man named Edwin Land, was really a figure very much like Steve Jobs is in our time.
Land had the idea for the 20 by 24.
In 1976, Polaroid was introducing its large format film for 8 by 10 view cameras, the big old kind where you throw the cloth over the back of your head. And Land went to the people in the Polaroid shops and said, I want to show off what it can do. I want you to make me a camera that makes really, really large images. They ultimately made a few, and there are 5 extant now and usable. This is the one in New York that sees far and away the most use.
Throughout the years, we've had a variety of artists. Andy Warhol's used the camera.
Chuck Close uses it to this day.
Annie Leibovitz, William Wegman, very famous series of Weimaraner pictures. We worked with Bill for many, many years. When you're composing still life, the feedback and scale of delivery of information is so amazing that it's probably still one of the best ways to work artistically.
All sorts of brilliant artists have made this thing dance, and for a camera that big, that is remarkable.
Not to mention the luminaries that have sat in front of the camera. But with enough light, any subject can shine. That's me.
The lights that we're using today, there's a pair of packs here that are putting out what are known as watt seconds at 6,400 watt seconds, which is perhaps about 500 times more than the camera you're shooting me with would require for a similar picture.
That's because the light needs to travel all the way through this long bellows to the negative at the back of the camera. But first, the image, inverted because of the lens, is focused on this ground glass.
And after you've focused the image on the ground glass, you use this very ingenious string to pull down the negative.
And so there's a huge roll of negative at the top of the camera. There's a corresponding roll of positive at the bottom.
When you expose the negative, the two of those sheets go through a pair of rollers which burst a little sac of developer called the pod and smear it across between positive and negative.
The dyes travel across that smear from the negative to the positive. It all happens
over the course of, in our case, 90 seconds. And then you peel it apart, and that essentially stops the process right there, and you have a developed photo, and if all went well, it looks pretty good.
Say cheese.